Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So we are gathered here together to share ideas around how to improve our quality of report writing so that it can reflect the standard of work we do here at CCSI. So my outline, as I said previously, is brief. It's the why, the who, the what, the when, and the where. And this is going to be essentially very participatory because I know we've got different experiences at writing reports here at CCSI and elsewhere. So let's start with why do we write reports? And Dupe, you wanted to say something?
Yes, so saying we write reports so that we can document activities for future reference.
So why for documentation? Any other reason why?
To be able to keep track of action items.
To be able to keep track, yes, action items. Okay, next.
Accountability.
Accountability. Pardon? Document progress, yes. There's what I'm looking for.
Learning.
For learning. That's actually not. These are all correct, but there's one particular one. Yes, that's to document progress. To keep track of accountability. So I think for me, what's really important is, and what has helped me over the years, when I write reports, I remember that people who did not participate in that activity are going to read the report. So it's also to share with the external audience, right? So if you have this in mind, that you're sharing your reports with the external audience, what should our reports look like? What should your reports look like? So you want someone to read it, and that person was not part of your process, or probably not even part of your conceptualization of the activities that culminated in that report. What should your report look like? Detailed, yes. She said two things. Sorry, she said detailed and easy to understand, yes. What else?
You should have an introduction, kind of overview.
Introduction. So let me use that further and say you should have a logical flow, right? Introduction and good flow. Yes. What else? What else should it have? Remembering that someone that was not present at the activity
You should have the objective of why that.
So good flow, including objectives, yes.
And what the activity tend to achieve. I don't know.
Okay, so when I'm reading this report and Tony has written this report, how do you want me to feel? What feelings should I have? I was not part of the activity. How should I feel reading that report? Like I was there, as if I was physically present. Any other thing? Any other thing?
I should also feel well informed, like
Well
I have
informed.
correct information.
Correct information. So it should be technically correct, right? And is it possible for reports to not have complete information? It is, right? So what are those things called? Gaps. How do you acknowledge gaps in reports? If you know there's a gap in your reporting, what do you do about them when you think there are gaps in your report? It's not your fault, you didn't have the information. The report ought to have this, but it's not there. So what do you do with that?
You mentioned it.
Mention it. I think that's all I need. You mention it. Now, so this is why we write reports. Who are we writing for? Who are we writing reports for? We've talked about the external audience. Can we break this down? Who are the external audience?
Like the donors.
Donors. I'm happy that you started with that. Because if your donor is not happy with your report, funding is going to stop.
Yeah.
Next. Who else are we
Other
writing?
partners, like prime. So assuming when you consult your
Other
other
partners, okay? Other development partners. Who else are we writing it for?
Stakeholders, like government.
Stakeholders, government.
We do it for organization, for your organization to pass.
So for that, I'm going to go back to the why. So you also write good reports so that you can market your organization, right? And I think for management, this is very important. There's no point writing a report that you're not bold or proud to stand behind. Any other audience, in terms of the members of the organization, right? CCSI. Members of CCSI. Okay? Any other thing you want to add?
And among the stakeholders, I think it's researchers looking for evidence. People looking for evidence too.
Even for the community where the activity is implemented, you write and share it in the language they understand.
So I think this is important if we think of the light of our new approach to getting feedback, okay, and giving feedback. So feedback, this is something that we need to actually step up. Have we exhausted the who, so we can go on to the next one? Who do we write to?
Under the donors, I think current and potential donors, potential are even more important.
Current and potential. Okay, so the next one is the what. And I think this is where the rubber hits the road. What should the report look like? What different levels of reports? What principles should guide our report writing? Let me start. Okay. Can I start? So you know there are different types of reports. Who knows what a stenographer is? Who is a stenographer? Word for word. So in the kind of work we do, it's like doing what? We do it also. What do we call it when we do? Transcription. So you can transcribe. You can copy. How to write reports. So you can also copy. So copy means what? Let me add the next one. Copy and paste. Right? What else can you do?
You can highlight.
Highlight. Now where I'm pushing us to is to create a report. So I have moved long away from writing reports. What I do is I create my report. So when you have your approach at creating a report, it will not be business as usual. Then when you are creating your report, all the elements are right on top of the plans you have to write your report. So for example, I will not transcribe. Is transcription important to get a good report? Yes. So why do we record meetings or activities we do? Why do we make sure we record that? So that you don't miss salient points. But it doesn't mean when you're writing your report, you now type down word for word. So in creating your report, you probably should have a template. And if there is no template, you create your own template that responds to the context of the report you're writing. A better approach would then be to create patterns and trends that emerge from the discussion and present them in those categories that anybody reading the report will understand. So if you move away from transcribing and you move away from reporting process, CCSI reports should never report process. So you shouldn't have a report that says, we started with opening prayer, then we went to tea break. After tea break, we had an exercise. After exercise, we broke for lunch. That's not what we need. The donor does not care about that. What happened at the meeting? Why did the meeting hold? What are the processes that led to the outcomes that are related to the deliverables? So if you write your report and your deliverables are not in front of you as a checklist, you are writing out of context. Okay? So there are different levels. There are instances where the processes are needed. I'm not saying they are not, but for programmatic reports, and you have all those audiences in mind, you need to create your report. Any contributions?
I was just going to say that, the issue of content, is this where we're going to discuss content?
Yes.
Yeah. For me, the most important thing is to be guided by either the template that you have, the objectives of that report, and then the issues that could come up in the discussion after people have read that report. So there are certain times you write a report and people are asking where the gaps. We should be able to address the gaps in advance so that when people are reading your report, they are not lost.
So
So let me pick up on where, yeah, Shay.
I was just going to, I was thinking that if we are going to be creating reports, we might not need any template.
You might not need
any template.
Okay.
I mean, we can just come up with templates from off our head.
So I think when I meant creating the reports, I still meant within the context of a template. Because if you do it outside the template, then there won't be any standard. But in creating, it's creating the content that goes under each category. How do you create? So it's like when you do a media workshop, media materials workshop, and you're working with a creative team, right? You have more technical expertise on the content than the creative team. So even when the workshop participants have given you all the content that needs to go into the flyer, if you just hand that over to the creative team, you still have not done a good job. You have to massage the text, rewrite it, you understand? Look at the audience in view, look at the objectives, what are the deliverables, how will it make sense to who the material is for? So until you rewrite that, whoever is in media or creative cannot make use of it. So it's the same thing with the report. So the activity has happened. If you report it the way it has happened, then you're not doing anything. But you sit down, you have context, which is why someone that was not part of the event should probably not write the report. You sit down, you look at the content, and you rewrite the entire contributions you have, rearranging it in such a way that you are creating the content, but within an existing template. So I think, yeah.
I think it's also important that when we write reports, we know and wear the shoes of the audience. So who is this report for? What do they want to know? That should really guide, even within the template, that should guide how we are reporting or what exactly we are writing.
I think for me, in addition to all that has been said, one skill that has really, really worked is being very analytical. Now, always answer the question, and so what? If you cannot answer the question, and so what, you have just done the work of a stenographer. Do you understand? So how do the different sections link together? As the person that was at that event, or that coordinated that event, or that is presenting this report, what do you know? What do you think the donor or the beneficiary of this report is thinking about ahead of time? So a very good report that is being written is not short-sighted. It has to look at the big picture. So analytical, current, analytical, futuristic. Do you understand? So you have to be able to connect all the dots. So a report is not just writing a report because it has happened. If you can't answer the "and so what," 37 people came to the workshop, and so what do you do with that? You can go further to say we had a diverse mix of participants from government, private sector, agencies, you understand, representatives of the audience. So as long as you can answer the "and so what" to the farthest extent you can go, then we are doing something a little bit better. So you give me a report, I'm going to question it. And so what? Okay? It was done over 3 days. Okay? We were able to develop 10 materials. And so what? Okay? So you must look at it with the eye of analysis.
If you start from the beginning, maybe beginning is A, you don't jump to F. Where's the B? Where's the C? Where's the D? Sometimes when I read reports, and even picture setting, somebody puts the picture that should come last, first, and it doesn't connect with the story, with the prose. So there should be a logic, so that when someone sees an A, the next thing is looking for is a B, not a Y. So that somebody is not at that meeting can actually understand what happened without having to ask questions.
So can I thank DOP for that contribution? Precious.
I also think reports have a particular emotion it evokes for the reader. Just like DOP talked about logic. If you read a particular report and at the end of the day you're done with reading, if you're happy at what you have read and it has actually convey a particular information. I feel words have a way it passes feeling across to people.
Which is why I also started by saying, how do you want the reader to feel? So you write a horrible report, you are going to get a depressed reader. You write a confusing report, you are going to get an angry reader. You write a story that tells the results of the process and identify the gaps, you are going to get a motivated reader. So what do you want? The answer is up to us. Have the feelings of your beneficiary in mind, okay? I was going to talk about this issue of logic and I was going to respond to DOP. At times it's not our fault, but once we shift our lens from reporting process, we'll be able to write a logical report. Now, in conducting workshops, the process goes zigzag, true or false? Now, when you're reporting goes zigzag, then I know you did not sit down, listen to all the information, and create your report. Because you should know that even though that information came towards the end, it should be in your executive summary, not as it happened. Do you understand? So this issue of logic is not because the event was not done well. That's how it's supposed to be. Even meetings. But if you now write the report that way, then it is evidence that whoever was writing the report was not being creative and was not even intentional in writing a very good report. So the issue of logic is very important. So when should we write our reports? When should we write reports?
Immediately after.
It kills me when after 2 weeks I've not seen the report of an activity. It literally makes me want to shriek. You know what you are losing when the time and the gap between activity and report is large? It's huge, whatever the English is. What are you missing? What do you miss when you don't write your report on time? Details. Now remember that your report is a story. So the technical details don't matter as much as the emotion you put into the report and the analysis you add to what happened. You conduct an event on the 1st of March, you write your report on the 1st of April, you've lost a lot of details, even if you recorded everything. Because some things will occur to you immediately. So if you're on the field, when should you start writing your report? I hope you know that. If you're on the field, you start your report on the field. You cannot finish on the field. But you can. So even if what I do, maybe it will help other people. Whenever I'm on a new assignment, I open a Word document, fresh, and I call it the name of the assignment. Anything that happens as the day is going by is on my notes. Before I sleep, I type it down. It might not even make sense. At times I write things I don't even remember. I'll type it down like that. When it's time for me to write the report, I will be reminded. What you don't write, you cannot remember. So always write. It might seem like the observation is not important or is not relevant. But if it occurs to you, you write it down. Not in your brain. Write it down. Have a notebook that, without this notebook, I can't write my report. Until you push yourself to that level, you are not intentional and deliberate in report writing. So you lose the details. So when is immediately. Okay? And then we can take this in context. Now, let me go back to who the report is for and add who should write the report. Under who? Who should write a report? Who should write a report? Yes, suggestions? Who writes the report? Someone who attended the activity.
A designated person who attended the activity.
Okay. Now, at times when we make mistakes, this is what happens. The person that we think is designated does not know that he or she is designated. So there should be a plan to let someone know. Precious, for this activity that we are all at, we are expecting you to write a report. Now, reports should have levels of QA. So when we delay in writing reports, we delay in the checks and balances that have to take place. So as you are identifying who is writing, you identify when your deliverable is due. So if, for instance, you have only 2 days, I know we do a lot of fire brigade activities. So let's say we do our activity on Monday, and we need to report, send back to NI on Wednesday. When should your first draft report be ready? Pardon? Monday. And then the internal reviews when? Tuesday, and then the sign off hopefully Wednesday morning, and then it goes. Now, in designating who, we have to be sure of the skill. So the next is, so what have we done? We've done the why, the who, the what, the when, and the where. Any other things to talk about? Can we look at the basic standards and quality or checklist of a good report? Okay. Let me start with the executive summary. I don't know about you, but this for me is probably the most important part of your report. And when do you write a very good executive summary? At the beginning or at the end? Beginning, thank you. What do you do at the beginning?
It's like, it comes at the introduction.
That's what you mean. But when do you literally sit down and write the executive summary within the context of writing a report?
At the end of the
At the end. So why do you leave the executive summary till the end? Why can't you just start writing the executive summary?
Because it's supposed to give you a glimpse of the entirety of the
A
report.
snapshot of the entire
So someone should
report.
read that one pager and know exactly what the remaining 72 pages.
So that one page should have the beginning, the middle, right, and the end. That summarizes everything that happened. Key highlights. You know why? Some donors don't read beyond the executive summary. So no matter how much information you pump into the body of the report, you don't get your executive summary right, you've lost your audience. Some executive summaries, by the time you get to the third line, the English is broken. They just switch off. The context is not well captured. The essence of the meeting is not well captured. They just switch off. Okay? What else do you want to see in a basically good report? Shay? I thought your hand was up. Introduction and background. Okay? Now, for me, and I think what helped me when I was working for a donor at some point, and I had a consultancy that lasted throughout the year. And while that consultancy was continuing after the first 15 days they gave me was a report I wrote. Someone that sat in Uganda and sat in the US that was not part of that meeting read the report and said, for any work you're doing on this tranche of portfolio, whoever wrote this report must be there. Because the picture that I was helped to be able to paint, it was as if the people, they were there. And according to them, all they wanted to see were contained in that report. So it's not a matter of the bulkiness of your report. It is the essence and the highlights and how you capture everything that went into it. So we should look at how we are creating or curating a context-specific introduction and background. And at times, introduction and background has been obsolete, and that's how they know that the person writing the report was not connecting the dots. You just copy from there and paste it. So basic standards and quality, you should look at your font. Formatting is key. That's talk for another day. Okay? So executive summary, introduction, background. What must your report cover? What should you see? Pardon? Key activities, yes. Don't follow the template now. Speak from your heart. I have some things in mind. Yes? What else? Next steps. Next steps is very important. We used to say next steps or emerging issues. Are they one and the same? Are next steps the same as emerging issues?
No.
Oh, we know. Okay. So now, if it is relevant, your report should have both. Because usually you capture your connection of the dots with the next step, with the next phase in your emerging issues. You cover the gaps that you've identified in your emerging issues. Okay? Next step is just activities you want to do, what you want to do beyond what you've done right now. Emerging issues. Then you also have your recommendations, right?
Yes.
Do you need a conclusion and a recommendation? Okay? It's up to you. I'll leave that with you and DOP. Data. We are doing programs. Unless it is absolutely impossible, we should see data emerge or insights behind the numbers emerge from your report. We should see analysis in your report if it is relevant. You are reporting community mobilization, oh, I had better see data. Okay? And your ability to juxtapose your data in such a way that it's not just numbers 15, 17, 19, 20, 19. Excuse me, depends on your ability to create a good report. Photos, are they important? Oh yes. If you want to insert photos in your report, insert them in the areas that speak to what the photo is talking about. You want more pictures? Put it somewhere and put a link in there. It's not an album, it's a report. Okay? I want to see who the beneficiaries were, who participated. Even if I facilitated, I don't put my picture unless it's good photo and I'm in it. So less of ourselves and more of what we did. More of the people that came and contributed to the report writing. Okay? Any other thing in terms of standards? What about grammar? My favorite. What's the minimum standard in grammar in English? Me, I still write as I speak at times. I know because of where I'm from, it is a very challenging attribute for me. Especially when I want to write a report that anybody can read from any part of the world and say, oh, this English is... So what's the basic minimum with grammar?
A few things. First, know your donor. If they're American, then it's American English.
Okay.
If they're British, then it's British English. We're be mindful of the spellings we use in that case.
And also, I think we should write in past tense.
This is third person.
Third person. Can you give me an example of third person?
So instead of doing, I went to this or we did this, it's more like the process was, it's writing outside of ourselves. So the community engagement took place as opposed to we organized the
Community event. Are we okay with that? Pardon? What did you say? Passive reporting. So third person. So there is no I, we. Okay? Do you understand? What else should we? What other standards should we hold ourselves to in terms of the grammar? Maybe we need to give an award for any report that is written without a typo. Is it possible? I hope you know some people have jobs that they lose their jobs if there are typos in it. Which kind of people will lose their jobs if there are typos in it? Think.
Right for president.
Write for presidents, write for press. They will lose their job if they write and there is a typo. Unless the person that is like managing them too does not understand the English. No, but seriously, we need to take this. We need to take this in. So we need to hold ourselves to standards. I'm going through all this because you then know what your deliverable time entails. It's not just writing and handing it over. It's a lot of work. We have to challenge ourselves to get to beyond 100% because it is possible. And what I've learned, when you have done your work, you are the artist behind the work. At times you are not able to do the QA yourself because you are seeing the same things. So let's not be arrogant in report writing. Let's be humble in report writing. If we are humble in report writing, we are going to put our best foot forward. And the best foot forward is to try to achieve 100% with all we have said. Any questions?
I just wanted to emphasize again the last point you made. The best writer in the world needs a second eye. You know, that's the truth. And that connects with the time we submit for peer review. You don't have a submission deadline at 5 p.m. and you bring you ask somebody to help you to read at 3 p.m. That's the time. So it is important for you to let people see your work before it goes out. But please build in time for the person to do it and do it well.
So I think, in addition to the keyword, the goal of whatever we are writing and the words we are using, we just have to be sometimes careful, double check, but make sure that whoever is reading understands that you are saying exactly what you're saying. So just write to be understood.
What you write is what you mean.
I think as much as possible we should try as much as possible to appreciate the details coming from the field. Looking words, even encourage them to write more, and then just for our own rules that we take up at that moment, and then keep the rest like an archive for future research.
Especially for the organization, it's good to keep more than to use less, than to ask them to give you less and then you need more.
Just another request to what, so as the session was talking, I was reminded of, was it about 2 years ago when PD made that statement about the fact that she had changed her style of report writing and that she really does reflective reporting. I think I started that meeting thinking, oh my God, what about this one again? But coming back, from there, ED got us to start using a different style of template and writing. And I think it's good if maybe we have a session for everyone on this reflective style of writing, because at the end of the day, you probably don't write more than 2 or 3 things.
Yes.
But it's not the usual format of background, intro. She doesn't have time.
Yeah.
So she wants something that, yes, that reflects and is analytical.
So it's the analysis that makes it reflective. Because if you don't answer the and so what question, you just give it process. So after we were challenged that they didn't feel our impact, I said, all the reports we sent, obviously there's no time to read them because they're bulky. So for that level, we always do a 2-pager that summarizes everything. And we know what she's looking for. She's looking for the stats. So the stats are there, not in prose only, but also in pictorial form. She's looking for a winning photo. We put that winning photo there. And she's looking for language around her SSE mantra, sustainability and whatever, and then we write it in there. So these are the ways that we can up our game ourselves. And as Sheyi said, at times we take it for granted. Oh, we've been doing it, but we have to reset our mind and always ask people, who have written all this, and so what? And what's the reflection? You see, it's that reflection that the donor is paying for, not the process you went through. You understand? Your ability to think through and to analyze and say, oh yeah, sure, only 10 people came. You understand? But we were expecting 27. So for that gap of 17, these are the implications of them not coming. That you write, it is not in the process. It's from your ability to contextualize and think through and connect the dots.
In case you can't remember everything we've talked about with respect to creating your report, remember that your report should be accurate and concise, timely and responsive, appealing and exciting. Thank you.